Everyone, Gary Carter, the best catcher in baseball, some folks say, is now a New York Met. The Mets obtained the 30-year-old Carter from Montreal today in exchange for HUBIE Brooks, backup catcher Mike Fitzgerald, and 2 promising minor leaguers. You know, I hate to see HUBIE Brooks go. He had a sensational year for the Mets, hitting in 24 straight games, but when a guy like Carter, 7 times the National League's all-star catcher, is available, you have to give whatever is reasonable to get him. Carter's stats last year showed why he's paid $2 million a season. He hit .294, banged out 27 home runs, and drove in 106, and now he's a Met. Carter's work behind the plate was also top-notch. He's a Gold Glove catcher who handles pitchers well. Carter, by the way, could have turned down the trade, but he didn't. I believe it's a sensational trade for the Mets, and in my opinion makes the Mets the team to fear in the National League. There will be
in his prime. He's played for 10 years. He'll be 31 years old by opening day. Hit .294 last year, coming off a season where he had 27 home runs and 106 runs batted in. Good defensive catcher, strong arm, and will handle the young pitchers. In case you forgot what Carter looks like, let's go to the videotape. Here he is, last opening day at Shea. Boom! Grand slam home run for Carter off Ron Darling. So Gary Carter is now a New York Met.
If you're in your pursuit to the title.
You're almost 31. Catching puts a lot of wear and tear on those legs.
Tough position, but just coming off this arthroscopic surgery that I had October 5th, the doctor that performed the surgery, Larry Coughlin, he says, as far as he was concerned, after everything has been corrected, which was a medial meniscus tear of the cartilage, he says, you have a clean knee, and as far as I'm concerned, you can catch another 10 years.
Torn knee cartilage will undergo arthroscopic surgery tomorrow. This occurred while Don was exercising back home in Evansville. The Yankees claim it's nothing serious, but I'm told that they are in camp today. Pitchers and catchers got it going. National League Rookie of the Year, Dwight Gooden, hooking up for the first time with the newest Met catcher, Gary Carter. And Gooden is delighted about his new battery mate.
When Gary Carter back there in the All-Star game was just a taste, a couple of innings, and we're about us more confidence. So the guy, he knows the league, knows the hitters, and got a lot of experience, and he's a pretty big target, and he's going to make me work, and I need that.
What pitches to calls will come a little bit later, and the kind of rapport that we want to work together with, that'll come in the spring games, and by the time the season starts on April the 9th, I think we'll be ready to go.
The Yankee pitcher.
To this, passes green, pitchers and catchers, 25 in all report, including this man, Gary Carter, here, warming up. Rookie of the Year, Dwight Gooden.
Key to our success is going to be our young pitching staff. It has to improve. Last year,
Carmine Sincata asked Hernandez, who?
Because they've got the same ball club back, and they've made improvement with by getting a left-hand bullpen pitcher in Ray Fontenot. They only gave up their 4th outfielder, Henry Cotto, who wasn't a starter. So they got something now that they didn't have last year, someone to come out of that bullpen from the left side. I figure us as a strong second and to win. Anything can happen. I'm not saying, I'm not conceding nothing. I think our chances are excellent. But I think the Cubs, because they won last year and they made an improvement, should be the favorite.
All right, there's an honest guy. Lost to the Astros today, 9-7, as the Astros got 2 in the 6th, 3 in the 7th, and 2 in the 8th. Let's go to the videotape. Today's game in Kissimmee, Florida. Top of the 3rd, 2-1 Yankees, and Butch Weiniger base hit. Winfield scores, Berra scores, and that made it 4-1 Yankees. Then in the top of the 4th, with the score 4-2 Yankees, Willie Randolph, the batter, and Randolph comes through with a base hit. Meacham scores, and the Yankees led 5-2. Marino, who went 3 for 3, went to 7-6 Astros, top of the 8th. Juan Bonilla, base hit. Kevin Bass up with the ball, throw to the plate. Here comes Cotto, and Cotto is out at the plate, and the Astros went on to score 2 more and won it 9-7. Continue.
He's the one behind the plate, both coming from the Mets in a deal which sent all-star catcher Gary Carter to New York. Brooks will switch from third base to short, and as for that trade,
after we made the trade, it was, all right, now we've got a shot.
and I'm bringing on the challenge. I think if I didn't want to bring on the challenge, I would never made the move. I'm really looking forward to that challenge to come along and play shortstop and play it well.
Montreal finished 5th.
Grapefruit League schedule against the Phillies. There are a few job openings on the solid-looking Met roster now to the big league. Sal Marciano has the story from Florida.
I think it's any longer an experiment. I think that's definitely going to be the most vital.
1980, his hitting helped the Royals win the American League pennant. Despite good production at the major league level, Clint Hurdle's progress was delayed 2 years because of an off-the-field incident, and he's had to battle back to win a job in the major leagues.
Sexuals at the same time. They were coming in as I was walking out, and somebody put 2 and 2 together and came up that I was a switch hitter, you know, and I'm not one to condone anybody or to judge anybody else, but that has never been my lifestyle.
Last year, Hurdle's fine play with Tidewater boosted his chances of being a backup for Gary Carter.
You stand in line for hours.
Nothing. Well, relaxed in the knowledge that lefty 15 saves a year ago and was absolutely superb in the early going, but suffered a shoulder injury in July that hurt his stats.
It's great, but there's nothing like being there. If you haven't been watching the Mets at Shea, you're not really watching baseball. Come out and catch the ride.
The Mets rely heavily on Mookie's speed to steal bases and get in scoring position for the heavy hitters. What about Mookie Wilson, 1985? You're going to steal 100 bases and strike out only 25 times?
Oh, that's a nice dream, but
Bradley grounded to Rafael Santana. He blows the force at second. Gary Carter tracks it down. Now, his throw home lands in the dirt. Dale Berra scores, a run in, a comedy of errors, and we can all be grateful that Gary Carter doesn't start for the Mets.
Set a new record for rookie pitchers.
2 balls, 2 strikes. The record. Congratulations all around as the game has been stopped.
I think Flight set some new standards for a rookie pitcher. He just had a phenomenal year, and I'm sure he's going to have the same type of year this year, and I'm just happy he's on our team.
Do you believe in a sophomore jinx?
No, I don't really think there's any such thing as a sophomore jinx. I think a lot of pressure is really self-inflicted, and if you're talking about a Dwight Gooden, I don't think he's ever heard of such a thing, and I
Ends per game.
I like pitching in front of a big crowd. You get more out of the game, and it seems like...
Now in their 24th year, the Mets have nurtured their own breed of fan.
I've always loved them. I grew up in Queens, and even though my husband's a Yankee fan, I'm going to root for the Mets.
Still, many followers of the Mets can recall traveling to the Polo Grounds in Ebbets Field to root for the New York Giants and the Brooklyn Dodgers.
Oh, I was a Brooklyn fan. I'm Erskine, you know, Campanella.
In October of 1957, the Dodgers, owned by Walter O'Malley, dropped the other cleat and announced they were moving to Los Angeles.
I was sick. You know.
Born in 1962, they immediately established themselves as the worst assemblage of talent in baseball history. The Mets were losers in those early years, but they were lovable and successful at the box office. They were led by a legendary and colorful figure of the game named Casey Stengel.
As soon as the kid gets dark, he starts to say Metsy, Metsy, not Papa, not Mama.
Mets won the World Series. In 1973, the you gotta believe year, they won the National League pennant. Having given their fans a taste of winning, buffoonery was no longer acceptable here on the playing field at Shea Stadium. Mets fans now expected a winner. Plus, there was a new force to deal with in town. The once mighty Yankees, dismal for much of the late 1960s and early 1970s, were...
But equally as important to New York as they are, they're that important to baseball.
Steinbrenner's Yankees have owned New York since the disco craze era of the late 1970s. At the same time, the Mets' home attendance was in free fall. Their owners, after a bitter public dispute, traded Tom Seaver.
As far as the fans go, I mean, I've given them a great number of thrills, and they've been equally returned.
The new owners brought Seaver back, then lost him again.
See you later.
But the loss of Seaver was forgotten shortly after the 1984 season began.
Here comes McReynolds. He can't get to it, and the Mets win the ball game.
The Mets were winning. A mixture of young players and veterans had the Mets in first place at the All-Star break. And a pennant race at Shea contributed to the Mets edging out the Yankees in home attendance for the first time in 9 years.
Well, we blew you out.
About winning, that no matter what happens, it's not going to interfere with what takes place on the field, and that's the most important area.
What about it, Davy Johnson? Any problems managing 76 home runs and drove in 97 last year? He slumped badly in August, and some Mets felt he gave up on himself and his team.
Well, I learned that you have to really stay on top.
On that leakable dugout, which may be a first.
I'm sure it is. Every time I've been to Shea Stadium, they've leaked.
We come in here and new carpet on the Shea clubhouse. We went outside and saw the field and the new benches and things like that in the dugout. There was just a good feeling
this afternoon as they look to tomorrow's opener against the Cards. Plush carpet in the clubhouse, non-leakable dugout. Yes, the Mets are ready. The one game of the year that got it in as player manager Pete Rose went 2 for 3 to move within 92 hits of Ty Cobb. This 2-run double for Rose in the 5th, the key hit as Rose and his Reds beat the Expos 4-1. Back in the American League in Detroit, the defending champion Tigers being a 2-2 tie. Orioles won it 4-2, although the Orioles were held